Every chiropractor wants more new patient, but the secret isn't more addition, but it's actually about retention. I'm sure you heard this before, but the one who stays and refers and transforms are what builds a seven-figure practice. Today, I'm going to show you how the 10 retention laws that I've used to help build a 100 visit a day practice. And none of this has to do with being slick, salesy, or fake. It's all about being human. I built a practice that saw over 300 patients a week, working 3 days a week. That's over 100 patients a day. My new patients were about 94.1% from referrals only. I obviously didn't keep every patient I saw, but I can tell you this, that I retained more patients than most. So here's the 10 laws of retention. Law number 1, the 3-visit trust window. See, years ago, I had a patient named Sarah. First visit, she was in tears and was in pain. She had hope. Second visit, she brought her husband. Third visit, she didn't come back. I realized at some point that I'd given great care, but zero clarity. What I didn't do was that I realized that the first 3 visits decides whether a patient builds belief or bails. Think of your visits like a trilogy. Visit number 1, it's about hope. Visit number 2 is understanding. That's your report of findings. And number 3 is about commitment. You need to script every word, every visual, every story in those first 3 visits to install the belief for them to feel like this is where I belong. Law number 2, you want to speak in patient's currency. If you walk into a French cafe, let's say, and they only spoke Mandarin, you probably leave because you just wouldn't trust. There's not congruency and there's no alignment. That's what jargon does to a patient. When you are speaking in chiropractic terms, thinking that you're speaking to a fellow chiropractor using big terms, they're not going to understand you. You need to focus on terms that they can understand. You need to translate those terms into a currency that they value. It could be about their pain, their energy, their function, their sleep, their confidence, their family time, their work, their productivity. Whatever that might be, each person's going to be different. Your ability to translate it into their value system and their worldview will make a massive difference in terms of whether they stay with you or leave. Remember, you're not selling adjustments. You are selling the life that's unlocked by the adjustments. Law number 3, human first, doctor second. What I mean by this is human before healer. I remember this one day. I was running really late. I was feeling sore for myself and it was more about ego than anything else. And I wasn't focused on the person in front of me. I saw them as a number I had to quickly process. I still remember this one patient of mine that I rushed. As soon as I was done with that adjustment, I knew I made a mistake. And I felt it in the heart. And you know what? I never saw that patient ever again. I failed them. It's about the person in front of me. Each person that I see, I have a job to do. I'm there to consult them, to lead them, to guide them, and to adjust them, to help them be a better version of themselves. And when I lost that sense of myself there, I failed them. And from that moment on, learned a valuable lesson that human comes first and the doctor comes second. So learn to slow down, look them in the eye, and ask them one personal question that will make them feel seen, and they will trust the process even when the results take time. Law number 4, the family principle. You want to treat everyone like family. You don't actually have to like every single member of your family, but you treat them all with respect because they're family. That means remembering people's birthdays or asking them about their kids and other things that are going on in their life matters to that person. People tend to stay with their families. They never leave. My patients are like my family. Loyalty comes from belonging. You need to make them feel they belong. Law number 5, you need to ritualize the experience, but sprinkle with something special. We used to go to the W Bali Resort a lot. We've been there about 8 to 10 times. And every time we went there, they would greet us by saying, "Welcome home." That makes us feel special. We were treated like VIPs, like royalty. But I'm sure we're not the only ones who felt that way, because that's how they were built. They had the sense, the consistency of care, and that experience. Because it was so consistent, we love going back. But what they also did was they knew that that wasn't enough. They need to sprinkle with something special and unique every time we came to visit. When we first walked in the room, a special tray of chocolates ready prepared for us. It may be a picture frame of our family. It may be a gift at the end of our visit on our very last day for our kids, because they were listening throughout the week that we were there about what they liked and what they enjoyed. It could be something very small. They would have a person come around and clean your sunglasses when you're sunbathing. It could offer you a special drink that's unique for the W Resort guests with no charge. That's the things that makes them special. The little surprise and delight that makes a difference, and having on top of that, the highest consistency of expectations of what an experience should feel like and how you make them feel welcomed and appreciated. So your practice should feel like 80% of it is ritualized so they feel safe and they know and have comfort in that. But 20% should feel fresh so it feels alive. Same rhythm, just a different note. That's how you keep people engaged for years. Law number 6, pre-frame the drop-off curve. They're the exception, that I'll stop whenever I feel better. You got to realize that patients do get better. Their pain starts going away, they function better, they start moving better, and they're going to start feeling good about yourself. You need to anticipate that because they're measuring and their expectation is based on how they feel. The problem is you and I both know that's not a great way to measure. What we need to measure is the outcome, the results of who they become under chiropractic care. The challenge is that you need to anticipate before they get better. You need to pre-frame that, meaning you could be saying on visit number 6, knowing that by visit 8, they're going to feel better. But reframe them that that's not the problem we're trying to solve. The goal is to get you back to CrossFit. The goal is to get you back to playing golf with no problems. We got to focus on the big goal, which is set up in the first 3 visits. You need to anticipate the fade before it happens and name the pattern so that you can neutralize it. Law number 7 of retention is you need to have the continuous re-education loop. What I mean by that is you need to constantly educate someone and never be afraid to teach them something repeatedly. Oftentimes we think that we'll learn something once and we'll remember forever. That's not true. How many times have you been on your phone knowing that you need to do something, but 15 minutes later after scrolling on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook, you realized, what am I doing here? I was supposed to do something and forgot. The same thing happens. If you spend 5 minutes adjusting your patient, you tell them something, guess what? As soon as they leave the office, they're not going to remember what you said. They would have forgotten about it. So it's okay to repeat something. Think about a child. How many times did you have to teach them something over and over again? Let's just say saying please and thank you. How many times do you have to tell them before they actually do it consistently? It's this re-education loop that we need to be not afraid of. And you need to do the same, teach progress, not process. You need to do it every single time they come in for a visit. You need to send them emails. You need to send them videos. You need to have education tools consistently in different formats and tones. Everybody listens or hears something very different. If you repeat something over and over in different ways, they might be able to hear it once in a while. Repetition builds belief, and belief builds retention. Law number 8, retention is a team sport. When I first got started, I used to think patients came to see me because of me. But a few years in, I realized that isn't helpful, especially when they don't see me for very long. And let's face it, I'm not that good. So I started changing my thinking and approach. I asked this one simple question. How can I build a patient experience that relies from the moment they walk into my office to the time they leave, and also in between the visits as well? Well, in order for you to do that, you need a team. You can't do this alone. And not only do you need a team, you need to train them. See, everyone in your office needs to carry the brand, not only in the office, but outside the office. One wrong tone at the front desk can undo your best adjustments. You need to align your team's energy and certainty and care always. This needs to be taught so that they understand the value of your patient's experience. This is what causes people to repeatedly come back to you. Law number 9, you celebrate the micro wins, not just the outcomes. Think of Netflix. They don't just drop a whole season in one episode, right? They give you reasons to keep watching. Just like shows, you need to show patients chapter wins. Phase 1 is done, and there's phase 2. There's an endpoint. This is not a movie. This is more of a series of engaging content. Next, you have to learn to celebrate micro wins, but you also need to project the future. Small celebrations create momentum and emotional anchors. Every visit, for every patient, they need to know where they are currently, how far they've come, but also where they're going, which leads us to law number 10. It's about future self-projection. Don't just deliver what they're asking for. You need to have the ability to paint a vision of a healthier, more powerful version of themselves that they never imagined possible. The biggest challenge a chiropractic or practitioner can make is the ability to project the future better than they can imagine themselves. If you have this ability to communicate value bigger than the vision they have for themselves, you have patients who believe and trust in you and that you will be the one who guides them there and get them there. Paint the future self that they didn't even know existed. That's the challenge you want to have for yourself, because people stay when they believe their best future is connected with you. My top 10 retention laws to keep every patient. Retention is leadership. You need to lead your patients towards a better version of themselves. In order to lead, you have to believe in your product and services that you can get them there. This is not about trying to sell or manipulate people. This is about influencing someone based on your belief in your services that you're going to change lives. When you can systemize this human connection, education, communication, and experience, you earn their loyalty. That's how you can keep every patient and never chase new ones there again. In order to know, you need to know where your leaks are. Download my free PVA calculator. It will show you exactly where your leaks are, where your patients are dropping off. Then you can fix those problems and those leaks. If you don't learn how to fix your leaks, you're wasting your time with every new patient you see, and you're not using your best leverage to become a 7-figure practice. So go download that PVA calculator in the link below if you feel like this can help your fellow chiropractors and fellow practitioners, because these are what's going to make our profession stronger if you implement them. If you have any questions, comment below or send me a message, and let's get your retention fixed.